thought he was feeling sick because he was saying, Mum, I've got a headache.
The kids who don't leave their rooms because they can't stop playing video games.
I mean, it's 2 years since he's been to school.
They're out of control.
I have been headbutted, I've had concussion.
Sounds like you're frightened of him.
Yep.
Now we know
Tara.
what's really happening inside their young minds.
Planned brain death.
I kind of miss having, friends, but I got friends online.
Experts say it's a new, irreversible brain change.
In psychological terms, this is an emergency.
An important health warning for all parents.
Those brain cells can't be gotten back.
Is it too late to save them?
The child you've lost, as you've described, do you believe you'll find him again?
Hope. I'll never give up.
60 Minutes, Sunday.
Well, fuck me. Back into the rabbit hole of news outlets and video games again. I'm not really the type of person who swears straight at the start, but since I have no monetization, I'm pretty much sweet to swear at my heart's content anyway. Usually I'm the type of person who watches the news on a day-to-day basis to see what's going on in the world. When things happen, I take interest. But when stuff in the world start to mention a stale topic for the 50th time, it starts to make me ask, what would the news actually show today? Recently, I've seen nearly every week a new article regarding people who play video games, especially Fortnite. It's getting something really stale and it seems more of an attentional bandwagon. Stuff on the news describing the seriousness of mental health of people in the world and even treating it like a pandemic.
I don't get my son back, and I mean real soon, you better kill yourself. Because when I catch up with you, I'm gonna take my goddamn time. By the time we're finished, you're gonna wish you weren't born. I'll have your head on a fucking pike, you understand me? Fuck you! I'll fucking kill him right now! I wanna talk! You kill him! You kill yourself, you motherfucker! Give me back my son! Hello! You want him? Yes! You want him?
Daddy!
Oh, Jesus!
60 Minutes last week showed apparently a new report regarding video game addiction to the current generation of youth. As much as I was interested, I had a real sign of anger and annoyance in regards to the content in me as well, because it seems like it's a never-ending subject, but according to the World Wide Health Organization and every fucking Facebook page that I keep seeing, it's classified as a legitimate disease. Now, while I do think it sounds logical to a point where I think of the word disease, it's a bit too fierce of describing what it actually means. So 60 Minutes a couple of weeks ago showcased what this mother is going through regarding the son and the effects of it. From the sneak peek I just showed you, it sounds like that the kid is more mental regarding than taking the help, from apparently missing 2 years of school and even headbutting his mum. I guess it doesn't help that the thumbnail they are using is specifically Fortnite, because everyone seems to be using this for every target on any form of game-related news articles today.
Good evening and welcome to 60 Minutes. I'm Tara Brown. While you're watching 60 Minutes, chances are children all over the country are glued to different screens playing video games. At least it keeps them quiet, right? And there's one game that's currently all the rage, especially with boys. It's called Fortnite, and it has 125 million players around the world hooked. And therein lies the problem. It and games like it are so good, there's such a sensory smorgasbord of action and colour, our children are becoming addicted. They're playing for days on end to the exclusion of everything else, even school, friends and family. Try to stop them and you're guaranteed a meltdown. No wonder then the World Health Organization now classifies video gaming disorder as a disease.
I want to stop the first thing because a lot of things don't really tick here, and this is what gets people really confused and really manipulated easily. Firstly, because saying the number of that apparently 120 million people are hooked doesn't mean 120 million people will be playing this game. How can I be sure? Well, to remind you, Fortnite is a free game on multiple devices including mobile phones, tablets, PCs, Macs and even iPods. And with this generation today that everyone has some form of device like this, it's easy to download. And since it's free, you can easily put it on any device, even if it's for show or even if it's just to have it on there. If that was the case with RuneScape with over 200 million people, wouldn't it mean that 200 million people are currently hooked on RuneScape at the moment? But if you go to RuneScape's main website, either on old school RuneScape or the evolution of combat, you'll see that there are less than 100,000 people online currently playing. The million indicates one of two things. 1. The total number of downloads that this game has received. Or 2. The total number of accounts that have had an interaction with this game, even if it's for a second. So really, saying 120 million people are hooked is very misleading. And as I said, if 200 million active users were playing RuneScape and are hooked, then that would be very misleading.
It's late on a Tuesday night, but it could be any night of the week. Long after everyone else is asleep, 14-year-old Logan is awake and will be for hours yet, fighting for supremacy in the online battlegrounds of Fortnite. By day, Logan can be found in the same spot, playing the same game over and over again.
If it was my choice, I'd probably be playing about 14 hours if it was my choice.
Like 125 million other gamers around the world right now, his game of choice is most often Fortnite's Battle Royale. This extraordinary phenomenon is a contest for survival. 100 players up against each other until there is just one standing. There's no blood, but plenty of weapons to collect and much strategy required for ultimate success.
The term like 125 million gamers around the world just indicated the above sentence that I mentioned again, but in both the wrong contexts. If you're saying it like this means only 125 million people are playing games around the world, as well as specifically they play Fortnite. See, if you were to search this and do the research for yourself, you would actually see that on most articles that they say the same thing. 125 million registered players.
Gaming addiction is real and is so widespread. 3 months ago, the World Health Organization declared it a disease.
Hello, mate.
And more overwhelmed parents are turning to psychiatrists like Dr. Tanvi Ahmed to help their kids kick the gaming habit.
I do want to mention what has just been said, how it spreads so much like a disease, like everything today. But pinning this subject specifically on a game makes the news sound so hypocritical. If that was the case, why do you allow McDonald's or car ads to be presented on the TV station if it gets spread like a disease? Advertisement has been around for an extreme amount of time, and it's how people promote their products or their businesses. Without all these people, the news should know that it's common knowledge, since they do a lot of deals of the week bullshit where they mention and promote the best deals around town. See, when a huge amount of advertisement is shown or it's a massive success, people are bound to talk about it or even look for it themselves. Like movies, such as Star Wars or some form of superhero movie, people are bound to get on board depending on its hype, reputation, reception, or its word of mouth. And people are bound to get onto the bandwagon to either play the game, watch a movie, or critique it, because like a lot of them, it's their job, or they want to try making a path with this. Twitch streamers are upon the popular bunch, as it's currently got well over 700,000 plus viewers watching people play the game, and there's more on that on Facebook, or other gaming platforms too. So realistically, it's like everything that exists today: food, movies, products. It's a form of promotion from a person's view. People will get the idea that it looks great and try it for themselves, hence its popularity. If you were to search up most TV news stations today or see the suggested posts on social media, you would see that most of them are regarding that the parents can't really do much about their children and to stop them playing Fortnite. They claim in most cases experts find a solution when in reality they don't know shit, even going from as far as calling video game addiction a disease. But apparently this is confirmed by the World Health Organization. But so who am I to know what an actual disease is? So I'm a 24-year-old single guy, for Christ's sake, so I shouldn't know anything from a parent's mouth or what they claim's correct. See, when I think the word disease, I think some form of germ or bug which affects humans, like the flu or cancer. Labeling video game addiction as a disease is like saying it's possible for people to catch the gay, when in reality it doesn't make sense. Whenever I hear addiction, I think of two possible things. 1. People who can't get over something and may possibly struggle during the recovery process. Or 2. Someone who has an obsessive compulsive behavior with undetermined reactions, forming something as simple as depression or anxiety, which more forms as a mental illness. So the word disease, where is that coming from? I don't think it's possible for anyone to gain a disease from playing video games, rather actually develop some form of symptom of what could possibly happen. Like, if you're looking at a screen for too long, your eyes start to hurt. Then, if that's just an effect by looking at your screen, why haven't you caught some sort of disease? I would say yes, being in a comfort zone does tend to piss a lot of people off if you disturb them, but not to call it a disease. If that was the case, why can't we call people who watch Netflix on the couch all day a disease? I think how it's been labelled is too extreme to call it a deadly disease, when in reality, it's just a compulsive mental behaviour.
Well, I kind of miss having, like, friends to go out with and all that, but I got friends online.
Look, it's a modern tragedy. Because now stimulus people are able to get in the modern video game, including the social stimulus, they can have so many needs met, and the sensory hold the modern video game can have on the developing brain, who can't make those reasonable judgments that as an adult most of us can. That's the real challenge, and that's the parenting challenge. That is, I think, different to other novelties in the past, be it television or fatty food or those sort of things.
Now hold on a second, I want to quickly rewind what he just said, because that's actually really important.
That's the real challenge, and that's the parenting challenge. That is, I think, different to other novelties in the past, be it television or fatty food or those sort of things.
That's the challenge, and the parenting challenge. He does mention in the past how it was all different, and yes, it was. There was not an easy access to get to the internet, and most games that you got today weren't really free either, or easily downloadable. While this new century of technology has been rapidly changing from computer, the mobile phones, and even the internet, technology has been easier for this era who have grown up with it with a certain age bracket or their previous experience. While if you're someone who has had children or was born in this era, technology has been pretty much around them today. I think what really disturbs me is that it's so common to see a 4-year-old have an iPad or some sort of electronic devices because the parents find this an easier way how to keep their children quiet, because it's grown around them and nearly everyone has a device or two. Parenting regarding on how much a child should be allowed to go on the device should really be up to the parent's decision itself, and to take some self-control rather than making the excuse of, oh, it keeps them silent, it keeps them quiet. There are plenty of other things which will keep them quiet, even a general interaction with them, or even a colouring book. See, when I was 4 years old and I needed to be shut up, it was only a matter of a few pencils, a book, and that was about it. Or in rare cases, my old Game Boy with Mario, which only played a few games because I only got what was there. Not going on to YouTube, not playing any other games, or even browsing the internet, but since everything is a lot easier than what it was 20 years ago, parents have an idea where it makes it a lot easier to distract their children, but in the wrong way. I think what makes it worse for the kid is if you tend to go out with other families, that all other kids will be exactly like that. While there is some form of interaction going on, it's very minimal for children, which means their social skills are really going to be piss poor in the future.
It's unthinkable, but his fixation is so complete, Logan has refused to go to school for the last 2 years.
You're already dressed. Good boy.
While his 2 younger brothers are up and ready each morning, Logan stays locked inside his room, often ignoring all attempts at communication.
Now, I really had this line which ticked me off. The kid mentions he hasn't been to school for well over 2 years, which in honesty for his age is pretty critical. High school isn't just about to going to learn and going to school and being with your friends, but it's also the search for career paths with their chosen electives. Without this electives or courses, choosing what type of career path is going to be extremely hard in the future. Even if this person chooses not to have any form of career and live off the taxpayer benefit, it's only going to be really short-lived, as some of that government benefits don't really last entirely, and relying on this doesn't ensure a lot.
Well, I kind of miss having, like, friends to go out with and all that, but I got friends online.
Not also that, but he does mention he doesn't have a lot of friends in the real world, which I can probably understand, and we got to remember that meeting people online is definitely a thing today. Hell, I met a few great people online thanks to video games, but it's the physical and social interaction of it all, because not being able to talk to people about the other little things can be real difficult. This all goes back to the future of some kids. What would happen? What would their skills be? And how would they achieve it? A lot seem to have grown up with apps such as Musical.ly, Snapchat or Instagram and get the idea that they'll be really famous on doing so. While some kids have made it big like Jacob Santorio's, the adventure of doing so is really hard, and for some people saying that they'll be famous on YouTube or a streamer, and it's so easy, it's really not. I've been doing this whole YouTubing thing for about 10 years and I've only found out what type of videos I should be doing, and I've actually gotten some reception. Nothing to make me famous, nothing to make me, but doing this requires a lot of time and a lot of money and a plan. And most of these are only going to get you so far before you realize that you actually need to get yourself further, and support is only going to be limited, both from the people and from the benefits itself. See, people seem to think that blaming video games that are making the kids that are addictive have these erratic behaviors, but the thing is, the kids aren't to blame. It's the parents, their control, and their knowledge. I hear a lot of parents saying they want their kid back. They don't know how to do it because it might disrupt them. It might disrupt how they interact, or it might jeopardize their connection with them, or don't know how to take it to the next level. Well, it's actually not that hard, and this is coming from someone who hasn't got any parenting skills and is still single. Some people I say today say they have no control over anything or anyone because they are scared to think of the consequences that it might bring them. The issue is, if people start to think like that and not tackle these things straight away, then the chance of control is reduced to nothing. When someone gets addicted to something, they are in denial regarding it, which is normal for everything, which is why some control needs to be implemented to help those people out. So I'm going to keep this brief with everything. Now, depending on how you talk to the person, that's completely up to you. Just don't go in there like an absolute lunatic, start rah-rah-rahing about and everything. Just approach them in their world, ask them what they're doing, which will open up more conversations to them as well. And then you can go ahead and hit up a completely different question. Now, current generation hardware and software come with the ability to restrict certain usage, especially when you've got access to the modems or on the registered account. Parental options are also included in the base operating system of consoles and devices to restrict what they play, for how long, and what they download. However, game restrictions should just be up to the parents before even attempting to say, no, he isn't playing Fortnite, the news says it's too bad and too violent. Now, before you actually go ahead and just assume, maybe go look at the game and see what it really offers. I'll be posting a link down below in regards to the official classifications for those in Australia, and for those outside of Australia, I'll be posting the ESRB website. These websites are great and take away that excuse. If you really want to cut off their gaming midway, then I'd probably use this as a last resort. That's if they are, in course, being a fucking shit. One last piece of advice, which is very, very simple. It's called a cutoff. Not a lot of people today realize that there's this magical device that can power off and charge many devices, hence we use them in our everyday lives. I'm talking about the power outlet. Just flick it off and that's it, no power. There are even devices which you can use to make it turn off at a certain time. Or you could take their controllers, that's a thing too. I don't know why I'm even saying this, I'm not a parent, but I grew up with these things being confiscated when I misbehaved. Hell, I had my controller smashed if I went a bit too far. I do believe parents should be able to show a new way of restricting and communicating with their children. See, I really didn't want to make this video, but just seeing how stupid some parents are, especially in 2018, saying they don't know what to do with their children by playing too many video games or technology has taken away their life, it's because they don't know how to approach their children properly. There was a question mentioned at the end of this news report. Is it too late to save them? The answer is no. It's never too late. It's more how the parent communicates between their child. If they have no sort of communication and leave them with these devices, then that's just going to struggle when they want to communicate with you or you want to communicate with them. But the problem is a lot of parents don't know how to make that approach with their children. How do you do it, you ask? With a simple talk and a subtle approach. Don't know how to? Get some professional counselling to help them out with that. Not an apparent expert who classifies gaming as a confirmed disease. Because with everything I've just said, if mental health statuses such as drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and gambling addiction are classified as mental health issues, why is video game addiction classified as a disease rather if it's showing symptoms of all signs of mental health issues like depression or anxiety? That concludes today's video. Make sure you leave a comment down below on what you'd like me to talk about next, and make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you follow me on social media and subscribe for more content. For now, I'm XenoGenic, and I'll see you in the next video.